Back again, people. What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here for a late night update for you guys. We have got a David Ornstein Bomba to talk about. We've got some Mohamed Kudus news to talk about. And maybe, just maybe, there is a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. And yeah, I guess let's get straight into it and then we can talk about our thoughts on it. So David Ornstein says West Ham United have tonight received an offer from Tottenham Hotspur to sign Mohamed Kudus. Bid worth £50 million turned down, but direct club-to-club talks continue. Kudus is prioritising Tottenham if he exits Tottenham. Personal terms, no issue. Ben Jacobs, Spurs' top priority is Mohamed Kudus, and the Ghanaian midfielder is keen on a move as revealed, expected to take around 60 million to strike a deal. West Ham won't demand the 85 release clause. Tottenham remain in talks after seeing the 50 million bid rejected. Spurs not pursuing Eberechi Eze, who remains a leading target for Arsenal. Jacob Steinberg, though, did say that West Ham also expecting Chelsea to return with a new offer for Kudus if Madueke is sold. West Ham reluctant to sell Kudus to Tottenham, but have no issue dealing with Chelsea. And Fabrizio Romano also in the last hour retweeted his old tweet regarding Mohamed Kudus, which said talks between Kudus and Tottenham on project personal terms are underway. Positive approach. Kudus open to Spurs while talks continue with both player and West Ham side. There are two more clubs still involved in the race. So.
He's gone. Looks like you just got me. Didn't expect it to be chucked to me straight away, but look, for me, when it comes,
is that positive?
He's back. There he is. Is it positive? I would say if I was supporting any other club but Spurs, I would see this as like quite a positive update, something to be excited about, because the fact he's saying he's prioritising Tottenham is quite interesting, because I think one of the big fears is that even if Tottenham were to agree a deal for Kudus, let's say, we could move quickly and get this deal done, swoop in, would Kudus hold out for that Chelsea move, and would he basically delay accepting a Tottenham move to go to basically see if Chelsea get involved and move there? So if he's saying he prioritises Tottenham, so I guess that definitely gives a bit of hope that if Tottenham are quick and we do get to put the money on the table and we do get a deal agreed with West Ham, that Kudus himself isn't going to be the one waiting for Chelsea, and he would be willing to basically jump at the chance to join Tottenham without any fear of any other clubs getting involved. So that's positive. But obviously, when it comes to this deal, I do believe, and I think it makes a lot of sense that West Ham would rather deal with Chelsea than us. I think from a PR standpoint, it makes a lot more sense for them. They're already on very thin ice with their current fan base, and losing one of their best players to their biggest rivals is not going to sit well, I think, with a lot of fans. Obviously, a lot of fans, are saying they're not bothered if Kudus leaves, but still, on paper, selling one of your better players to your biggest rival is not going to sit well with a lot of West Ham fans, I think. So I think from a PR standpoint, I think they would rather avoid that situation if they can. And I'm assuming if Chelsea put in a bid, they'll probably rather deal with them. That's kind of my thinking. But if this Madueke deal potentially drags on a bit, and Tottenham are there ready and waiting with the deal ready to go and with a fee that West Ham are happy with, then I think there is potential for this, because Kudus, if he's saying he prefers Tottenham or he's prioritising Tottenham, that's very, very interesting. I don't know why he is. Maybe because he feels they will get more game time at Tottenham. I don't know. I don't know why Tottenham over Chelsea. They're both in London, so you'd assume, given all things being equal, money-wise, maybe Chelsea could offer a bit of a higher wage, and Chelsea seen as a bit more of a glamorous club. But maybe he sees something at Tottenham in terms of game time, and with Thomas Frank, I don't know. Maybe he just sees something different there. So if he's prioritising Spurs, that's very, very interesting and very good. But obviously, the report is that we've had a £50 million bid rejected. Now, we have heard a lot of rumours that we've made a £50 million bid a while ago. So whether we've officially done it now for some reason, and even though we've made inquiries about a bid, we've still lowballed it, which I don't think is going to do anything but piss off West Ham's owners anyway, even if that's the case, and that's the best case scenario from this report, unless the Ornstein is late to the party when it comes to this bid being submitted. But if there's reports, obviously, that the deal could be closed for 60 million, but I reckon that's for other teams but Tottenham. I reckon they're going to want a bit more from Tottenham. That's kind of my feeling. I reckon they're going to want 65 maybe to 70 for Spurs, and maybe 60 million for other teams. That's what I would predict when it comes to this deal. And when it comes to having a Tottenham tax, if there's any truth to that, as I've said, I think Levy is the kind of guy to walk away from a deal on principle, because he doesn't think that would be a right thing to do, to demand more money from us than other clubs, albeit I'm sure that's probably something Levy's done in the past. But I reckon he's probably one to say, this is how much we think he's worth, and we're not going to pay a tax just because we're rivals. We think we should be paying a fair price. So I can see Levy walking away for that reason. Let's just hope that we put this money on the table. 50 million is a lowball offer in this context, because we know how much they want. Maybe we've got encouragement that they would be willing to deal with us, which is why we've submitted an early bid, maybe just put a bit of pressure on them to accept. But that was never going to be accepted under these circumstances. So it's hard to get too excited. I just guess the positive thing about the report is that he prioritises Tottenham, which is not something maybe we've heard in terms of him prioritising us over Chelsea.
And with Ornstein breaking that news, I mean, if West Ham wanted him out before, they're goddamn going to want him out now. Like, what sort of West Ham player comes out and says they prioritise Tottenham? Let's text a player that is desperate to get out of that club. I mean, the fans are going to absolutely hate him now. They're absolutely going to chastise him no matter if he joins Chelsea or Spurs, he is going to be booed like there's like no tomorrow anytime he goes back to the London Stadium. But in terms of this £50 million bid, I mean, we did hear 2 weeks ago, ex-West Ham employee, confirmed by Paul O'Keefe as well, and other sources all saying that Spurs put in a £50 million bid 2 weeks ago. So whatever makeup of that bid that was, whether it was an inquiry or whether it was an actual bid, if you have it rejected 2 weeks ago, what sense is there 2 weeks later to come in with an official £50 million bid? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, that's Tottenham for you, isn't it? But the only thing I can think of is you're just trying to put pressure on West Ham. You're trying to get a deal done early. You've got the money on the table, saying, look, I know you said, basically, what I'm assuming has happened is they've inquired a few weeks ago saying how much they're going to take. And West Ham probably said, however much, 65 million or whatever it is. And Tottenham said, okay, we're prepared to pay 50. And they've probably said, we wouldn't accept 50. But they've been shopping him around and obviously haven't heard anything back. So maybe Tottenham just gone, here's a £50 million bid. Are you going to accept that? And they've still turned around and said, look, we're not accepting 50 million. We're rejecting the offer. So I think, obviously, maybe when it comes to, I feel like a lot of these deals and the language used, I think language is used quite loosely. I think maybe, and we have ultimately tonight put an official bid, whether we put in an official bid before or just made an inquiry or whatever, maybe that was something different. Maybe essentially you could technically say, it's not a lie to say we put in a bid a few weeks ago, but maybe it wasn't an official bid. And tonight it's like we've literally sent an offer to West Ham. Here's 50 million, like official, and they've turned it down. That's probably what's happened. But I agree with you. The fact that we if it's true that whether it was a bid or we inquired with them a few weeks ago, and they told us it wasn't going to be enough, the fact that we've come back with that offer or similar amount is just classic Levy. Is taking the piss, trying to see if he can lowball it, trying to see if he can get a cheap deal early, and it was never going to. It sounds like it was never going to be accepted, and we're going to have to up that bid significantly.
I'm just going back to the old ex West Ham employee tweet, what he actually said. And he said that it was just an inquiry at that point, £50 million inquiry. So that's an inquiry. This is an official bid. But again, like, I just don't get it. Like, if you're going to reject an inquiry, you're going to reject the bid. If it's a starting point to start negotiations and the clubs are talking, which Ornstein said the clubs are talking, then maybe they can come to some sort of agreement. But then again, the way Spurs like to negotiate. We're going to go negotiate this for the next 2 weeks. in that time, Madueke is probably going to go somewhere, potentially to Arsenal. Chelsea are going to come down and slap the money on the table, more favourable terms, and Chelsea are going to have the upper hand, and then West Ham will have no kind of reason to keep negotiating with Spurs, unless
Yeah,
Spurs make a better bid than Chelsea, which I can't see.
yeah, and the worrying thing is, the rumours that we don't want to get involved in a bidding war, which definitely sounds a lot like Levy. But those ones are just rumours. But obviously, the one from Jacob Steinberg saying West Ham would prefer to deal with Chelsea, will have no problem with dealing with Chelsea, and they were reluctant to sell to Tottenham. Obviously, that's a concern. That's obviously the fear we had, because we know we're West Ham's number one rivals. So if they are going to follow that, and they'll rather deal with Chelsea, the weird fear is, even if we come in quick, will West Ham delay the deal to see if Chelsea get involved? Or will they see the money on the table, and with the fear of, I don't know, Tottenham moving on from the deal and finding other targets, and then Chelsea not agreeing a deal, and then they get stuck? Maybe they don't want to be involved in that situation as well. So I think there's obviously different, situations to this deal. There's all these, moving parts. But I think, yeah, look, the fact that Kudus wants us is a big positive, I would say. And the fact that he's really interested in coming, he's prioritising us. I think Ornstein wouldn't have said that word, prioritising Tottenham, if that wasn't true. That's quite significant.
We finally found someone. We finally found a decent player that wants to join, which is unbelievable. And Buemo didn't want to join. Eze looking like he prefers move to Arsenal over Spurs. Like, we finally found a good player around the Premier League, that we actually want at this football club, that wants to join. Now it's up to Spurs, because I think Levy's backed into a little bit of a corner now with all these top players that have been, going off the table one by one. Whether it be Eberechi Eze, whether it be Mbeumo, whether it be Semenyo, all our targets going one by one. I think Levy's under a lot of pressure to deliver someone of that quality with Premier League experience through the door. And if it's not Kudus, you start to think, well, who could that player be? So I think Levy's actually under a lot of pressure to deliver Kudus now.
Yeah, I mean, we went through it. If you're looking for a winger with Premier League experience who we think would definitely raise the bar in our forward options, we're definitely running out. Or players who are attainable, that is. We're definitely running out. I mean, if Kudus doesn't work out, I mean, Elanga you're looking at, but could be on his way to Newcastle. You may be looking at Minter, but you're going to have to pay a lot of money for him. So I think after Kudus, you probably have to start shopping outside the Premier League. I think looking for a Premier League option for that position is probably going to start to look unrealistic, unless we get involved with the Madueke deal. But obviously that's, you would think we lose out on Kudus only if Madueke goes to Arsenal. So that's probably not also unlikely as well, I would say. For sure, though, I think we shouldn't be hanging around. We should know the bid, and we should be making it work. We shouldn't be putting in low ball offers, risking it getting rejected, and risking the time going on, because we're just hearing from reliable journalists the Madueke deal seems to be accelerating. Apparently he's agreed personal terms with Arsenal, and that seems to be going in the right direction for them if they want him. So that seems to be moving quite quickly. So we need to get a move on if we want to get ahead of the game. If we really want Kudus, and we have to steal a march on the opposition. And it's all well and good him prioritising us, but as much as it's significant in the sense that he wouldn't hold out a move for Chelsea if we can agree a deal quickly. But in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't mean much, because if Chelsea come in and West Ham reject our offer, and that's the only one on the table, he'll go there. He's not going to sit. He's not going to dig his heels and say, "I only want Tottenham." He'll go to Chelsea. We've seen it with other players. Tell, we heard he only wanted United. That deal fell through, and he's like, "All right, I'll go to Spurs." We even heard it with wasn't so long ago Mudryk. He was very widely reported. He wanted Arsenal, really wanted Arsenal. They didn't get the deal done. He was like, "All right, I'll go to Chelsea." Exactly. Like these players of I'm sure it's positive that if we can quickly agree a fee with West Ham and there's a deal to be done there, then he wouldn't basically delay this deal to see if Chelsea get involved. But apart from that, that's not that significant, because the hard bit is getting the deal done with West Ham. That's the hard bit. So as much as it's, I would say in where this deal was going, it's a positive update, but it's hard to get too excited about the update, I would say.
Yeah, I think the only significant thing is like, I mean, we heard Kudus was positive about it the whole time, but the only significant thing is like, if both bids are accepted, Chelsea and Tottenham, it looks like he will join Tottenham over Chelsea. That's a significant kind of thing. But the other significant thing, we found a player that wants to join us. I think that's the main thing about it. So now it's the ball's in Levy's court, and the ball is to say, and the situation is to say, put the money down on the table and bring this man to the club. Has to be.
So we're just getting a couple other reports now. I mean, it's saying the same thing, but Sammy Mockbell has just tweeted just now saying West Ham have rejected a £50 million offer from Tottenham for Kudus, but talks are ongoing. And Jacob Steinberg said West Ham turned down a £50 million proposal for Kudus from Spurs earlier this week, but have not received any new offers since then. As reported earlier, they are expecting a bid from Chelsea. So that's what Jacob Steinberg is saying on the deal. So he's suggesting that they are definitely waiting for Chelsea to get involved, which obviously is not good for us. And he's saying this bid came in earlier this week.
Doesn't surprise me at all. So I'm saying a lot of conflicting reports about inquiries and bids and when they've come in. Steinberg said earlier this week. Ornstein said tonight. I mean, who are you going to believe? I mean, you would believe Ornstein over anyone, would you?
Yeah, well, when the other guy said it happened a couple of weeks ago, so it's hard to know exactly when the timing is. But I wonder if you know, because the other guy, Paul O'Keefe and West Ham employee was saying it was 50 plus 5 million add-ons, weren't they? They have one's really.
No, that was something different. That came a bit later. The original thing from 2 weeks ago from West Ham ex-employee was just 50 million inquiry.
Right. Well, yeah, it's not going to be accepted, is it? We're gonna need to up the bid significantly. We're gonna have to get close to that 65 million, I think, if we want to get it done quickly. We'll need to give West Ham a real choice. I feel like right now it's not a real choice. 50 million, it's like, yeah, we can get a better offer, we feel like. But if we literally put that 60 to 65 million on the table and say, look, we're here, we're ready to go. You don't have to wait for Chelsea, and really put pressure on them, then I think they might get itchy feet and they might accept the bid. So I think that's what you got to do.
I just don't understand what they're waiting for. The players are starting to filter back for pre-season now. We've got a couple of weeks now, or a couple of weeks till our first pre-season game. We need to get a significant player in before, and to get him up to speed with the way Thomas Frank wants to play and get him integrated with the team and everything like that. If they're rejecting bids earlier this week or 2 weeks ago or even tonight, get that second bid in tomorrow. Get it in tonight. You know what I mean? Get this deal over the line. If we differ around with this, we'll lose him. And that's the reality. And if we lose him, who the hell knows where we turn after that?
And there are other clubs, they're saying coming in from as well. And, as more bidders probably is to say, Liverpool might start looking at him now, like after what's happened. And other clubs are probably going to start might look at him across Europe. We've heard reports of other significant clubs that might look at him. So if we've gotten this opportunity that he's willing to come and no one's really put their offer in, then we got to take it. And right now, I think this is a moment we have to kind of put the money on the table and try and just steal a real march. And lowballing with a £50 million offer is not going to do it.
I'll tell you what, though, reading that tweet from David Ornstein today, Prophet Clem must be absolutely fuming.
Prophet Clem, yeah. He's like, what is going on? Surely not. Surely this can't be happening. I bet you. I wonder what he's saying, where he thinks he's going to end up, what the Prophet is saying. But look, I'm not going to get my hopes up just yet. I want to see real indications that Tottenham are willing to spend the money required and willing to really go do everything they can to get this deal done. And at the moment, I don't see evidence of that.
Yeah, completely agree. But look, the news is right now that there has been a an official £50 million bid that has been rejected. Mohamed Kudus is prioritizing Spurs apparently, and Spurs and West Ham are in club-to-club negotiations as we speak. So we need to get that second bid in ASAP, and it can't be like Don't go in with a £55 million bid. Slap 60 million down on the table and give them something real to think about. All the news in the press is saying that West Ham are going to accept 60 million. So go slap 60 million down and see what they say to that. You know what I mean? Like, if you can afford 50 million, you can afford 60 million, in my opinion. In this
Yeah, 100%. Tottenham are just, we know how we negotiate. We're trying to get as much money off as possible. We're trying to get the cheapest deal. We maybe felt like, I'm guessing Levy felt like if I just put in a cheeky 50 million and test the waters, maybe they'll panic and accept it, but they were never going to do that. But then again, very rarely teams do accept the first offer, do they? And there's always a negotiation. So I think it's positive that the clubs are currently in active negotiation, and hopefully we can come to some sort of agreement. But as you say, the Madueke deal is accelerating, so that's a big issue.
Yeah. So look, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think Spurs will and can land Mohamed Kudus in this transfer window? Some big news coming out tonight, and hopefully some more coming out over the next couple of days. All right, I'm gonna get this up, and there's some super chats there, I guess.
Yeah, let's. Well, SJ says Kudus Bomba get in. I mean, it's not. It's not a bomber to celebrate, but it's a bomber that I would argue it's a bomber that probably moves it in a better direction than what we were hearing, but it's not one I would get excited about. I wouldn't say, oh, wow, it's getting done. It's positive that he wants us, but this is still Tottenham we're dealing with. I was to say, if I was a club, any other club but Tottenham, I'll probably say this is a significant update, which means maybe we're getting close to a deal. But because of all the other factors in this deal and the fact that we're Tottenham, it's hard to get too excited with the update. Aviv Shalom says Levy wanted to spend 60 million on Matisse Tell. For fuck's sake, pay up. Well, to be honest, he didn't pay the 60 mil. He got the money down. Obviously, that was a pre-agreement, wasn't it, in January for the clause, the buy clause, but of the thing to buy. But well, yeah, we got it down. We only paid 30 million plus the 10 million loan fee, so we didn't pay as much. But I guess the argument is, do we have that money now to spend because we didn't spend that much on Tell? Well, we spent 40 on him, so not exactly. We saved about 20 million. Hopefully, we can put that towards Kudus, but I wouldn't look. I want him. I really want this deal to happen. I just can't get excited about it just yet until I'm hearing more. We're closer to a deal because that Chelsea are going to try and hijack it. And how many times they've bloody hijacked a deal off us as well? It's happened so many times. It's not their first rodeo. Yeah.
Who have they hijacked of us before?
I definitely remember Willian that hijacked us. They've done it a few times. Who else? They've definitely done it a few times. They've hijacked.
They love to hijack anyone and everyone. Chelsea. They just like to sniff around. Whatever they look at what Spurs doing, Arsenal doing, everyone's doing. They'll be like, "I'll have some of that."
Hazard. They hijacked. Yeah. But there was more recent ones. Neto. Well, I don't know if we were close to Neto, but we were definitely in the running for him. Who else they hijacked? Anyone in the chat remember Chelsea hijacks? I tried to filter them out of my memory. Who else? People saying someone said we should be going. Where was that message? Someone said we should be going for Elanga over Kudus, but he's going to Newcastle.
No, I prefer Kudus over Elanga.
I agree. I completely agree.
That's true. We were going for Tosin, weren't we? We were going for Tosin. Yeah. That's not really a hijack, though, if two clubs are going for it. I mean, I'm talking about like when we were favourites to get a player. We were like
front runners and they overcome us, yeah.
Willian was a hijack. If they get Kudus, it's probably a hijack as well. But Tosin and these kind of guys are not hijacks. Hazard was definitely a hijack.
And Buemo still hasn't gone to United. Yeah, I wouldn't get your hopes up on that either. Billy said almost Tell. Yeah, they tried to hijack the Tell deal. It's true. But we just got it over the line.
No, Hakim.
Mashin says, don't worry, Sim and Ben. Levy's got a strategy. Maximum bang for minimum buck.
Yeah. It's a shame that that maximum bang is not a big bang. It's just a little minute bang. What is going on? What is going on at bloody Arsenal down the road over there? Seriously, like they've been talking about getting Rodrigo. Now they're looking like getting Madueke. What a big like disappointment that is for their fans. And there's talk like Fabrizio Romano is literally talking about Ethan Nwaneri going to Chelsea. Like seriously, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, apparently Nwaneri is not well. He wants guarantees on game time, which is quite the which is very interesting, especially for a 17, 18-year-old to be making demands. But look, I understand he's very good. So, and he was class. To be fair to him, every time he played last season, he showed he's ready to play. So,
yeah, how much game time is he going to get at Chelsea?
Yeah, it's also another good question. Romano did just tweet, said club-to-club contacts with Madueke set to take place soon after agreement done on personal terms. Chelsea keen on Nwaneri only if Arsenal talks collapse. No active talks for ter Stegen so far. Didn't realise they were in for ter Stegen as well. But it just pisses me off there. It pisses me off this whole London club merry-go-round, this relationship all the London clubs have with each other, except for us. We're like the black sheep in the town. Like no one can touch us, no one can deal with us because everyone hates us. But they should all be rivals with each other, but they just don't give a shit. Apart from us, we're the only ones they give a shit about. We're the only ones they refuse to deal with.
This whole thing, like within the Arsenal fan base, they're saying, "Oh yeah, we're big rivals with Chelsea. We hate Chelsea. Chelsea say they hate Arsenal." But they bloody sell players to each other every bloody year. Goes back so long as well. Look, goes back all the way to the Ashley Cole deal. Move forward a bit. You look at Olivier Giroud. There's just so many examples of it, of Chelsea and Arsenal doing business with each other.
All of them, Chelsea, West Ham, Arsenal, West Ham, they all do business with each other, no problem. None of them have problems dealing with each other. It's only with us.
Alex Crook also just said the same thing, saying his understanding Tottenham bid for Kudus was rejected several days ago. Player keen on the move. Hammer's less keen to sell to Spurs.
Yeah, and that's obviously the issue we're going to have to overcome. So I guess it boils down to whether there is either, first of all, are we going to make the bid that they want, and second of all, is there a Tottenham tax? Are West Ham actually going to put more money on top of it because of who we are? And that could be a deal breaker.
I wonder if West Ham would want like Emmanuel Solomon or someone like that.
Give it to him. I wouldn't mind. Maybe a Basuma.
Or Basuma, yeah.
Richarlison.
You can use one of those players as tax.
And Basuma, I think Basuma gets into their team for sure. Richarlison, they massively need a striker, don't they? Antonio's left. Fulkrug hasn't really done it. So they definitely need a striker. So Richarlison will definitely fit. Whether Richarlison want to go there is another question. So I think, we probably have some players maybe they would want, but maybe we could do something there. But I'm worried that if it's such a problem selling to us, I can see Tottenham being the ones walking away from it. That's what I'm worried about, because Levy's stubborn like that. He gets offended by those things.
He is, but again, I said like maybe in a normal circumstance he was, but I don't think this is a normal circumstance anymore because of just the targets, how few and far between there are of Premier League.
He refuses to lose in a deal. He refuses.
He does.
He'll never bow to their demands like that. Like, I'll pay an extra 5 or 10 billion or whatever because you're Tottenham. He'll never agree to that.
It's true, but there have been situations where we've said like, "Oh, Levy would never do this. Levy would never do that," and he has changed in certain aspects, like cancelling Ndombele's contract. You know, we said he would never do that, and he did it. You know, so there have been situations over the past couple of years where he has shown a few signs of giving in.
But he's done it for the betterment of the club. This would, I guess getting him in would be for the betterment of the club, but I don't think he would ever pay for that reason, if you know what I mean. He might pay because he feels, for example, I don't know, we've speculated before, like with, I don't know, the Solanke deal, or maybe other deals like, oh, would Levy actually go that high? But if they're willing to do it, because that's how much the club value it, he's willing to go that high. But if he's value the player at a certain amount, and West Ham also agree with that valuation, but are going to put an extra tax just because we're a certain club, I think Levy would probably take offence to that. I think Levy would say that's unacceptable.
But I think
I can
as
see
well,
Levy
like,
doing that.
I think within the club they'll know like Kudus's value is above 50 million. I think they're just trying it at 50 million because they know West Ham are going through a few money issues and they're trying to take advantage of it. I think they'll know that Kudus's true value probably is around 60, 65 million.
I mean, based off the season he had, I don't think 50 million is ridiculous. I think looking at his quality and looking how good he could be, I agree. I think 50 million is a good deal for Tottenham, 100%. But I don't think in the market of him, 50 million is a ridiculous offer where he is right now.
When you're looking at, I know Mbeumo just had a brilliant season. He's going to go over 65. You're talking about Semenyo going for a similar price. That is just the going rate for proven quality Premier League wingers these days. And I know Kudus didn't have the greatest of seasons last year, but you look at his whole body of work, he's a brilliant player. There's no doubt about it. One bad season doesn't change my mind on that.
I mean, no, I agree with you. I wouldn't say this is a proven world-class player. You know what I mean? Like, I would say he's very good. I'm very excited about him. Don't get me wrong. And he had a brilliant first season at West Ham. But like, this is a guy who had, I think, maybe one brilliant season at Ajax. Obviously had a pretty good World Cup, and then had a very good first season at West Ham, but then had a pretty bad last season. So it's not like this is a guy who's been doing it year in, year out. But whereas Mbeumo, I think, has maybe shown it a bit more. I would say, and people like Cunha maybe shown it a bit more over a bit more time. But no, I take your point. I think this is a guy who's probably worth that much in terms of his quality and in terms of his potential. But you're buying that. You're not buying someone who's like on the top of his, coming into this on the top of his game, like in great form.
Well, let me say this then. Like, if this season at West, if these negotiations were going on in the back end of last season, on the back of that season for West Ham, in between a World Cup and a great season for Ajax, I don't think most clubs will bat an eyelid at 60, 65 million.
Sorry, if you mean that after his first season?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I agree. But he's just had a bad season. Market values change off the back of those things. But no, I agree. 65 million off the back of his first season, you're probably talking about more than that. But he's had a bad season. That's just how it works in football. If he had a bad season, the value goes down a bit because there's question marks and all of a sudden a bit of uncertainty, especially the way he's had a bad season. Bit of attitude problems and things like that, falling out with the manager. Clubs don't tend to like those things. But I agree. I think the player he is, I think for sure he's worth around 65.
Like, it's so easy. If we were to sign him for 60 million. He has one good season at Spurs next year, his value goes straight up. It could go up to like 70, 80 million.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's got so much quality, like so much quality. He's literally the best dribbler in the league. Like, literally.
Yeah, he's an astonishing dribbler. He's so hard to get the ball off. And I think he's just like waiting to explode. He's waiting to be this, like, he has world-class potential. Just need to fulfill it.
Exactly.
I agree with that. But there's a lot of players with world-class potential who don't fulfill it. That's my point. You're buying the potential. He's not world-class yet.
40 million.
Yeah, I know. We overpaid for him.
Sign Archie Gray for 40 million, and we're only putting in a 50 million bid for Mohamed Kudus. Like, make sense.
Yeah, it's true. Absolutely true. Let's see. King Hoddle said his potential was immense, but attitude could be an issue. That's obviously the sticking point, because he did have some problems last season. A lot of, I was talking to our uncle's a West Ham fan on yesterday, and he was saying he just believes that it's like he just wants out. His mind wasn't in it, kind of thing. But that's a worry that can happen so quickly. He was only at West Ham for one season, and he was checked out after one season. And that's not a great look. To do for that, that's quite quick for that to happen, I would say. But I guess there are reasons for him to be checked out because of what happened to West Ham last season. But still, it's not a great look, I would say.
Yeah,
for
but I
him.
think it's very different, like being at Spurs and being at West Ham. Like at West Ham, it was just a shit show in terms of two managers, different styles. He wasn't played in his best position. He was being pulled here and there and everywhere, left wing, right wing, up front, in the 10. I think under Frank, I think Frank is a perfect manager for him. Really is.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I'm just saying it's not a good look for him. But look, I think there are reasons, and there is context to why it happened. But I'm just saying to kind of check out mentally at a club after only one season where you do well, but it's just not a great look, I would say.
Yeah.
Ollie says, if we don't go for Kudus, I think we should go for someone like Bakayoko. I was just read rumours that Forest could be in for Bakayoko this summer. I'm guessing they're looking for a Langer replacement. Could be Bakayoko, which would be interesting. But
man, I think Bakayoko is such a good player, man. I've been banging on about him for a few years now. He didn't have the greatest of seasons, just gone. But I think he's a player that's also ready to explode. A really good dribbling ability, strong, and he could just take it past a player just like that. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, I wonder. I think that'd be a great bit of business for Forest if they sell Langer for 55 and get Bakayoko for like 35. I think that's great business. That's how you do things.
Look who's come in, mate. Look who's come in. Danny's he's getting bigged up to he's getting psyched up to get battered at paddle tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. He's getting ready. You don't know what's coming to you, Danny. You don't know what's coming. Beast of TH says Archie Gray was used and abused last season by Ange. Let Frank play him in correct position to judge him. No, that's fair, but that's absolutely fair. But it's also fair to say that a player who's only had one season in the Championship to pay 40 million for him. Obviously, we were excited at the time. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's clear we overpaid for that for a player of that current ability. No, yeah, sure, he could turn out to be the next best thing, and then maybe in 5 years or 10 years we'll say lucky we paid 40 million. But I think right now, I think paying 40 million. I mean, he's probably 20, 25, half that. To be honest, obviously you're investing in the future, but that's the kind of fee you pay for players that are ready now. You don't really pay that kind of. The reason you buy up and coming players with potential is because you buy them cheap, and then you can help them grow. So to pay 40 million, that's for a player you expect to be ready.
And 20 is being kind as well.
Yeah, and he only had one season in the Championship, one season, and we paid 40 million for him. So I think I understand it's a great talent. You don't want to miss out on him. But there are so many players, right, that we've not wanted to miss out on, and you wouldn't pay the extra bit, right? But for Archie Gray, you're willing to spend, probably an extra 15 million or whatever it was to get him in, probably than what he's worth. This is not a bash. I don't want to think we're bashing Archie. I'm not. I love Archie. I think he's going to be a great talent, and I'm really happy we got him. I'm just trying to question the kind of psychology of how we do our business. And that's like sometimes when there's a player who we're desperate for or really need, or we know is going to upgrade what we currently have right now and ready to play, a lot of the times we won't go the extra mile, put the extra, even 5 million sometimes we'll miss out on a player, right? For example, like Mane, like we didn't want to pay 35, we ended up paying 30 for Sissoko, that kind of stuff. We won't put that extra bit million, but when Archie Gray's there, who's a player who great talent, but is clearly not ready right now to play in the Premier League, we're willing to go the extra whatever, 10 million or 15 million it was to get him in. And doesn't really make too much sense to do it for him, but not for players that are ready right now.
Exactly. That's what doesn't make sense of this bloody football club. That's what perplexes me so much. Like, it just doesn't make sense to slap money down on Archie Gray. And then if we do pull out this Kudus deal because we don't want to spend more than 50, that would just that would piss me off so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you doing, guys?
Yeah, and again, because we don't want to get in a bidding war, though, those kind of things.
On a side note, on an off topic completely, not even football related, has anyone been keeping up to date with the Oasis reunion? Man, oh my god. Oh my god. I watched
been
the whole thing
unbelievable.
tonight. It was just fantastic. The best I've ever heard them. They are literally the best.
Liam's voice is the best I've ever heard. Honestly, it's unbelievable.
His voice, the band, Noel's voice, his lead guitar playing, everything is just on point. It's the best I've ever heard that band ever in my life.
I know all the videos are just incredible.
I literally watched the whole gig tonight.
You watched it all?
Yeah, live.
Mad. Just saw some. I don't know if it's new or not. Just saw someone post that Chelsea are set to bid 55 plus 5 million in add-ons for Kudus.
Who said that?
Lost it now. I refreshed. I don't know if it's a new one though. I don't know if it's new or like an old report.
Before, I haven't seen an old tweet like that.
Where has that gone? This one. It's from 8 hours ago. It's from, I don't know who this is. Top Skill Sports.
Nah, get out of here.
He calls himself a Sky Sports transfer specialist and sports writer.
How many followers has he got?
25,000.
Decent.
Says Chelsea are set to submit an offer of official bid of 55 plus 5 million add-ons. But it was earlier today he said that. No one else seems to have picked up on it though. So.
That's what I'm saying, man. Vukatsin, sorry. That's what I'm saying. On happier news, by the way, Luka Vuskovic started at Hotspur away today. Good to see him in Spurs gear and getting put through his paces.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be interesting. It's very interesting. We obviously got the clips of them returning, but we didn't get any football clips and football things. So very excited to see them in training and the differences of Frank and all that kind of stuff. And obviously gearing up to that first pre-season game against Reading on the 19th. Yeah. So it's all happening. It's all happening. There's going to be more players back next week. So it's all going to be very exciting. Obviously, Decky was back, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see how the extent of that knee injury, how much is still troubling him, all that kind of stuff. But it was good to see him back and working out and stuff like that.
Radu
as well. Yeah, Radu. Yeah. So that's all positive, but obviously, just because they're working out in the gym doesn't mean they're any closer to coming back. And you saw Musiala today. Oof, that was terrible injury. So bad. Feel so bad for him. Awful.
I just saw a picture of his ankle after the game.
Oh my god.
Awful. Really is awful.
The initial reports apparently are 4 to 5 months from here that they've said.
Yeah, and it could even be longer than that. Looking at his ankle, it's actually such sad news. What a player he is. What a player.
And apparently he just come back from injury. It was his first start after coming back from injury. And that happens. Bad for him. Wish him a speedy recovery.
World Cup, was it?
Sorry?
Was that his first Club World Cup game?
First start.
Oh, first start.
First start. So he's apparently coming back off an injury. And it's his first start since coming back. Yeah, that happens.
God, it looks so bad, man. I feel so bad for him. He's just one of those players that you could just watch play football all day long. What a player he is. So young as well. So he's got a lot of time to recover and come back, but he's going to miss a lot of football.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yep. It's going to take him a long time to get over it.
So who are we thinking is going to win the Club World Cup? Got PSG.
So the semi-finals is PSG, Real Madrid, and who are Chelsea playing for Fluminense?
Yeah,
Ooh,
I think PSG are going to win it.
yeah, PSG are going to win, aren't they? Although that guy he's on a mad run. What's his name? Gonzalo Garcia. What a player. 18 years of age. He's just taken this competition by storm.
So this Garcia guy, he was playing for Real Madrid B last year, and he got like a crazy amount of goals for them. And
he's just,
Alonso's come in and just been like, you know what, you're my guy.
he just seems like, as well, one of these players which are so important. Just like he just gets goals, like he just pops up in the right place. He has that kind of natural ability to just be right place, right time. And he's clearly got a good finish about him, and he's like physical. He gets headers in as well. Like, I think you need that as much as you need like your Mbappes and Viniciuses and these players. You also need these guys who are just, when you need someone to pop up with something, they can just pop up at any time and get a goal, and he might be their player for them. Like that run, what was it, when they got to the Champions, when they won the Champions League, they beat Dortmund in the final. It was very overlooked in that run how important Joselu was in that run. Like
he scored every game.
That's what I'm saying. But he didn't get the applauded. Like he was so, obviously they released him at the end of the season. Like he was very important. Like just that ability just to be there, in the box, getting those chances. He got, I think, a couple goals against Bayern, a couple of tap-ins, and I think Garcia maybe could take that role.
Surely PSG going this far in the Club World Cup has got to be a positive for us. Super Cup. It's got to be.
For sure. It's not a bad thing. I mean, it's not a bad thing, but yeah, it'd be interesting. If they get to the final, when would the final be? It would be,
I think it's next weekend, isn't it?
So Club World,
a month away from the Club World Cup, from the Super Cup.
Super Cup.
A month.
It'll be 13th, exactly a month. Yeah. So definitely, because I reckon there'll be a lot of players still on holiday, and they'll give I don't know. Probably not actually. Probably everyone's going to be back, but maybe some players won't be.
That's the question. So their first game, yeah, it's the same as the Premier League. 17th.
They're going to have to be back well before, but everyone's going to have to be back well before. But I'm guessing then, there might be players who are just fresh back from the holidays and stuff like that, because they're going to need some time off, aren't they? So we're starting our pre-season now, and they're going to be starting their holidays in a week's time.
Yeah, there's not much break for these teams like Chelsea and PSG and Real Madrid. Like, how are these players ever even going to have a holiday? What, they're going to go away for 2 weeks and then that's it? Just a 2-week break?
Yeah, they'll be lucky if they get, because they got to prepare for the new season. So, bet a lot of players bet the club is pushing a lot of those players to not even go on holiday. I bet, but you're gonna have to. You can't.
You know what though? PSG can literally use their league campaign as a pre-season.
Yeah, it's also true. PSG it's very true. I'm sure they're going to take that Super Cup seriously as well. They're going to want another European trophy, so I'm sure they're going to play their first team. But maybe we can catch them on a bad day. Hopefully, if they still come back from their holidays, they haven't had much rest, all that kind of stuff. But very serious team. So even on a bad day, they still probably beat us.
It says someone in the comments, I don't know how true it is, saying PSG have to legally give 3 weeks holiday.
They do. Doesn't mean, probably, but doesn't mean they have to take it. You know what I mean? If the club are putting pressure on them to come back early, maybe they have a right to have all that holiday, but whether the club are like, no, we need you back at a certain day, if they're going to just ignore it, I don't know. Maybe I don't, or maybe they have to. I don't know.
Just wonder how much, and they won this game tonight or today against Bayern Munich. They had 9 men.
Yeah, they got 2 late red cards. It was a good game, but
they scored their last goal with 9 men.
Yeah, Bayern were much the better team throughout the whole game. Really? Much the better team. They were really unlucky. Although I would say first half they're much the better team. Should have really taken the lead. And then second half, PSG got back into it. They Neuer made one mistake and Dembele missed the open goal. And then, PSG did come back into it, and obviously they ended up winning the game. But Bayern will be kicking themselves that they weren't in the lead, I think, earlier on. But look, they're a great team, PSG. They showed, like, even against like Arsenal, they can have spells run under the cosh and they can soak up pressure. It's not a problem for them.
How was Harry?
He was good. He was good. Yeah, he had a goal ruled out for offside. Some good switches. I think it wasn't his best game, but I think when he was getting involved, he was pretty good.
Danny says, do you think we are signing Kudus now more so than not? Or is Levy going to do Levy and mess it up with 5-10 million? I mean, I still don't think we're signing him, to be honest.
Yeah. I can't get excited about that prospect, just knowing how we do business, what kind of club we are. Look, there's a chance, don't get me wrong, I do think there is a chance we can do it. It's just whether we get our act together, we spend the money that's needed, whether we can get there ahead of Chelsea, who are going to come in at some point, if we can get the deal done before they get their act together with the whole Madueke deal. Those are things which I think there's a good chance that we differ, we negotiate, we pontificate about a few million here and there. And by the time we are ready to spend the money, Chelsea then get their act together and have their bid ready. And that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, but I guess that's that. We wait, we live to fight another day. We find some more. Hopefully another bid goes in tomorrow and we can talk about it then. But right now, we're just playing the waiting game once again.
But at least he wants us, so that's positive. Kudus wants Tottenham. He's prioritising Tottenham. So the ball's in our court.
Yeah. Now the only thing left is for someone to offer me an Oasis ticket. And then we're good to go.
Exactly. Summer sorted.
All right.
Would you wear Oasis ticket or Kudus signs? What are you choosing? Put you on the spot there.
It depends who the alternative for Kudus is.
We're gonna have to get Dibbling.
Dibbling and Oasis, or no Oasis and Kudus. Got to back the future, mate. The future's important at this football club. You know what I mean?
Well, you got to get Dibbling in.
Oasis
ticket. Someone said Fab tweets. What did he tweet? Did he tweet something?
No, he hasn't.
No. Just baiting us, making me do things. When Oasis is going to have a gig at the Tottenham Stadium, when's that going to happen?
Levy should get them a residency at the Tottenham Stadium once a month.
They should get them to replace James Black.
You done James Black dirty there.
I'm sure James Black wouldn't mind.
I prefer James Black singing all the Spurs songs, to be fair. Don't want Man City energy scuffing that all up.
All right. Yeah, nothing else going on. It's looking
cool. All right, well, we'll see you all tomorrow. More content coming your way. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We'll see you all later. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.